Guys, in this video I'm going to tell you why being a minimalist is the best route to go if you're moving out to the Philippines or Southeast Asia, and why you should have a backup plan, a plan B, and even possibly C when you move out here. Stay tuned. Alright, so what do I mean about being a minimalist? Well, it's pretty simple really, and this is kind of a fad that's been going on. I don't know if it's really a fad, but it's something that's really catching on and taking place all around the world. People are realizing they don't need a lot of stuff to be happy in life. In fact, it's kind of freeing to get rid of a lot of your stuff. I know before I moved out here, I had went through all my stuff. I got rid of most of it. And then what I did is I had one big check-in bag that I was going to take with me to the Philippines, one backpack, and a laptop. So I had to go through the routine of packing these up and then keep reducing until I could fit it all in. I didn't want to go over a certain weight. So once I got to that point, I was golden and good to go, and I haven't looked back. And that is the way I maintain it as I live here in the Philippines, or sometimes in other places I've been out to, or I lived in Vietnam for a small stint for 4 months, and I also plan to be moving out to Malaysia once this whole lockdown and quarantine is over. So what do I do? Well, if I am going to be in one place for a while, for example, I'm here in Dumaguete, well, you end up getting your own linens. You end up getting your own towels. You don't have enough things in the kitchen to make everything that you want to do in your kitchen, like some pots and pans and things like that. So what do? At the end of my time here, I will just either give it away or sell it on the cheap. Go through the same exact routine that I did before. I'll pack that one carry-on luggage, my backpack, my laptop, and then the check-in luggage. And if everything doesn't fit in there, then I know I need to go through and get rid of some stuff. Usually I take this opportunity to get rid of some of my old shirts, reduce it down, and then what I'll do is just buy more shirts or buy linens or buy towels or what have you at the next place. Now, if you're moving from one place in the Philippines to the next place, then perhaps you could have it boxed up and sent over, and it might be a cheaper route than buying all new stuff. You could ship it out by LBC or have it shipped by the boat or a ferry. There's different options that you can do. So why is it important to be a minimalist? Well, I tell you what, I'll give you an example. I have a good friend here living in Dumaguete, and what happened to him? Well, he started accruing a bunch of stuff again. For example, he's bought a car, and then he bought a second car because he likes cars. He's a mechanic, so he likes to work on cars, and one is a truck and one is just a regular car. He ended up getting a motorbike. He's gotten a big generator. Of course, he's into photography, so he's got all kinds of camera gear. So he is locked down here. He can't even really move, even if he wants to. He is a prisoner of his own possessions, of his own stuff. His own stuff has made him prisoner. And when you're out here living in the Philippines or Southeast Asia, the last thing you want to do, or the last thing you want to be, is a prisoner of your own stuff. We have talked many times, my friend and I, and he has discussed how he would actually like to move on and try some different places. But he's accrued so much stuff, he can't. He's stuck, So again, he's a prisoner of his own stuff, of his own crap. So personally, I don't accrue a bunch of stuff. I really have no desire to ever buy a car. Now, I know some guys that do come out here and they get married and they have kids. Now, that's a whole different story. But as a single person, I think it's important to be able to be free and be able to leave at any moment. Now, I'll get into the whole Plan B and Plan C thing in just a few minutes here. But back to being a minimalist. Now, for any reason, you never know, there could be some major natural disaster. Natural disasters do happen in the Philippines. We are prone to earthquakes. Davao and Mindanao went through a whole period of time where there was just earthquakes left and right. It was just this earlier this year, and actually late last year when they started. You get typhoons that hit quite often. All you have to do is go back to Typhoon, I think it's Yolanda, that hit Leyte and Samar, and just devastating. Now, there are a lot of foreigners that live there. Foreigners that have bought property with their wife or their girlfriend or what have you. And they ended up accruing a lot of possessions, and they lose all of that. And their home is destroyed. So, for me, I'd much rather be in a place where all of a sudden an earthquake hits and it's devastating, where I could just pack up my stuff, and leave. Now, that does mean living a bit of a nomadic type of a lifestyle sometimes now. I've been here in Dumaguete for about 5 months, so this is the most I've settled down in quite a while, to be honest. Before that, I had lived in Cebu for 2 years, and that is because I was working a different set of circumstances. But now that I work solely and completely at home, I'm not really stuck into one city. I can explore. And if you move out here and you're a single guy, I think you should. I think you should have the flexibility to be in a city, and after a couple months you say, you know what, I'm bored of Cebu, all right? Cebu's not really for me. You can pick up and you can go to the next place. Again, that means being a little bit flexible and a bit of a nomad. So that means maybe possibly getting an Airbnb for a month. Maybe asking that Airbnb owner off on the side, not through Airbnb, but messaging them and say, hey, can we talk in person? Talk to them in person and say, hey, I like it. I like your unit. I'd like to stay here maybe 2 months, but I don't want to sign any type of lease. And many of them will do that because Airbnb does get a percentage. And so if they can make a deal on the side, then a lot of them will do that. Now, I'm not encouraging you to do that, but it's an option. Another option is I've used rentpad.com in the Philippines for short term. I've stayed at places for, when I was in Davao, I stayed at places for a month, and then I just told them maybe with a week left, hey, I'd like to extend. I'd like to do another month here. So all of these are different possibilities. You can find places that will maybe charge a little bit more in rent, but you have the flexibility of not signing any lease. The electric, the internet, cable TV, all of that is included. Sometimes when you do a whole month, they will want to charge you electric, but they'll just charge it to you at the end of the month. They'll come by with the bill. Or maybe they'll require a small deposit like 5,000 pesos, which would be applied towards the electric bill. So there are some circumstances that that might apply. So again, could be natural disaster that happens here. We are in another country, and you never know when there could be political unrest where you'd want to, leave. Could be a variety of reasons. Could be personal reasons or whatever. If you have the ability to leave, then it certainly makes things a lot easier. When you do find that perfect place, then you can go ahead and settle down and maybe accrue some stuff. That's up to you, but certainly don't get yourself locked into leases. Even the internet, they'll have you sign like a 2-year, 3-year contract. Try not to get into any of that until you really know that you like the place and you want to stay there. Okay? All right, so what does this have to do with having a plan B or a plan C? Well, having a plan B or plan C simply means if something goes wrong, or if I need to leave, or if this doesn't work out, then I will head over here. Okay, now that could be within the country. You could say, if this place doesn't work out, then my plan B is to go over to Cebu, or my plan B or plan C is to head over to Malaysia. Now, there's a variety of different options. For me, I have a lot of plan Bs and plan Cs for being over here in the Philippines and Southeast Asia. One, I teach online, so I always have 2 online teaching gigs. If one, for any reason, if I got fired, laid off, if I decided I don't like the job anymore and I quit, whatever reason, or the company goes belly up, then I've got my second teaching gig, and then I would take that teaching gig, move it to the forefront, and then find a second teaching gig again. So I always have that backup income source. You always want to, especially if you're an expat overseas, you need to have yourself a savings where if something happens, you could get out, you could leave, go back to your own country, or you could go to Vietnam or Malaysia or wherever. And you should, really no different than in the West, you should have yourself about 6 months worth of living costs. A plan B or plan C also means that if the Philippines doesn't work out for some reason, again, for reasons that I stated, political unrest, a natural disaster, or personal reasons, or whatever, then you could say, hey, I've checked out Vietnam. I like it. I don't like it as much as the Philippines, but it is a plan B that if things didn't work out here, I could go and live in Ho Chi Minh City, or I could go live in Kuala Lumpur. So have some different options, and also explore and check out some different countries while you're here. Everything is so close together that you really can take these inexpensive flights. Just look for the bargains, and you can fly to Malaysia for $60 round trip on the off season. You can fly to Vietnam for $100. Thailand, Cambodia. There's all kinds of places you can check out. Taiwan, and there's a lot of places that are very visa friendly. Malaysia, for example, you get 90 days without even having to get a visa. So you, as a Westerner, Australian, American, England, what have you, you can go to Malaysia for 90 days. No visa required. 90 days. Taiwan, as an American, you can go for 6 months. Cambodia, you can stay for like a year. I mean, there's a lot of great options. So don't just think it's the Philippines only. Check out other places. You may end up liking another place better. So, guys, questions, comments? How do you feel about being a minimalist when you're living out here? What kind of plan Bs or plan Cs do you have in place? Let's have that conversation down below, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell notification to stay up to date with all my new videos and notifications of live streams. Guys, check out my affiliate links down in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.